Hey everybody, Drew Mack here. This is my third video about the process of stand-up comedy. So this is just a video about what to expect when you're getting into the stand-up world. I recommend watching the first two videos first before you do this one. So a couple things you have to accept is that, like anything, when you first start out, you're not all that good at it, all right? You may have a knack for the comedy and what makes something funny, which is great. You may have a great sense of humor. I hope you do. But the process of comedy, like I talked in my other videos, is kind of different and it takes a little bit of practice. So you're gonna have to go up on stage and tell some jokes and just fucking bomb like hell. It happens every once in a while. The first set I ever did, I told two jokes that just completely fucking bombed, and then I got a laugh out of nowhere that I didn't expect, and that's what kept me going for a while. Probably should have just given up in the first place because I never really went anywhere with my act, but I'll cut that part out of the video. That's just something you're gonna have to put some time in on stage and work your jokes and get to the point, because you may have ideas where something can be funny but you're not explaining it the right way, or you need to find a couple different different punchline for it, or just word a couple things differently. Basically, like fine tune it, sand off the rough edges. You're gonna have to do that, and you can't do that in front of a mirror talking to yourself. You have to do that in front of an audience to find what's gonna work. All right. So when you start out, you're gonna be going to open mics. So you have to travel to wherever the show is. Sign-ups are usually half an hour to an hour before the show. Then wait for your set, do your set, and then travel home. Now, that is to say, this can be very time intensive. You have to have your evenings, maybe even late nights free, depending on where you are. In Norfolk, I was done with the shows usually around 10 or 11. San Diego, I was out till 2 a.m. to do a show. All right, it's kind of what you got to get used to. And then if you're doing it that late, you probably need some more time in the mornings too. So a couple nights a week, you're gonna have to have set apart from this. And you can do all this, you can travel the show, you can do everything, and then get bumped and have to come back another time. Some places do that, the more popular places. And the way to avoid getting bumped is to bring people to see you, because clubs don't really care about your act. You as a new comedian are no different than anybody else. Even a comedian has been doing it for 10 years. If people are not coming to see the person on stage, they don't give a shit who is on stage. They care about who's in the audience buying drinks and buying food. Okay? So until you get to the point that people are coming to see you, like as a draw, like they put your name on the poster and people show up to see, oh, I want to see that person. Bringing people is the best way, most reliable way to get on stage. Unfortunately, your friends are going to lose interest in your shows pretty quickly. But that's not because of you or how funny you are. Like I said, you're not going to be all that great starting out. Your friends are still going to support you. But the thing is with open mics is you're going to sit through the absolute dog shit comedy you can possibly imagine. Like, if you want to tell jokes and improve your act, you have to sit through that stuff. The first time I ever did a comedy show, I had my whole thing written out, and this woman went up on stage and she just started screaming like, I wish I had a dick, because I'd make a bitch suck my dick. And I'd be like, get on your knees and suck my dick, you fucking bitch. And just like that, just screaming like that for like 3 minutes until she got off the stage. You know, it's like, what the fuck is that? I did talk about this in my other videos, that you may be pressured to talk about who you are as a person or do stereotypical humor. And so the thing you have to realize is there is an audience for that. Okay, like there is, like, the small comedy clubs can usually bring in somebody who tells some stereotypical jokes that everyone's heard before, and 100 people a weekend or 100 people a night will show up Friday, Saturday, Sunday because they like hearing that kind of stuff. All right, but those people telling those stereotypical jokes are never going to get any bigger until they move beyond that, right? Like, there are a lot of musicians out there. If you go to Nashville, you're going to hear a ton of incredibly good musicians all playing the same, like, drunk people hits, right? No cover band has ever gotten big. So until they start doing their own music. So if you want to develop as a comedian and actually become somebody, you have to do stuff that's unique. All right. The easiest way to do that is to tell stories about yourself or things that have happened. You can make those stories up, but until if you're just repeating, I'm Asian, so I can't drive, and then you had a chuckle, like Jeff Dunham without the puppets, right? You're not gonna get you're not going to really build who you are as a person. But that's also a long time away. Maybe I'm wrong on that part. I don't really know, and hopefully, I wish you all the success in the fucking world telling jokes. I'm not going to come see you if you're doing the shit I've heard before. What the hell else was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah. So I did mention earlier, the best way to get stage time is to bring people to the club, to bring an audience. That's actually not 100% true. The best way is to provide drugs to the booker. That or sexual favors, depending on the sexuality of the person. Yeah, you're going to be pressured into one or two of those things. You don't have to do it. You just have to be aware that that's part of the scene and part of the entertainment industry. Harvey Weinstein wasn't the only guy doing that shit. In my movie, the booker, the bad guy, was doing that kind of crap, and that was not in there by accident, okay? The final thing I'm going to leave you with is that the world of comedy is entirely face and name recognition, okay? So people promote their shows by putting up posters, all right? That's headshots, pictures of a person with a microphone standing in front of in front of a wall of bricks, whatever it is. Now, that doesn't, so on a poster, you can't see the person's jokes or hear the person's jokes. You don't hear their voice. You don't know what they're going to talk about. Okay? So having people to recognize your face or something you've done is worth its weight in gold. All right? I can take my camera and a microphone and walk around the city and take 500 fucking pictures of people. You'd never be able to tell who the stand-up comedian is. So when people are coming to a comedy show, the main draw is they're coming to recognize someone from TV, someone they saw on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. So whatever you need to do to get your face onto other people's phones, do a podcast, do a local news show, do a reality, like a fucking reality show or something like that. Anything that's kind of a lower barrier to entry that you can get into the entertainment world and get your name some kind of legitimacy is absolute key if you want to build up a following as a comedian. All right, social media is great in the sense that there are no barriers to entry. Anyone can make up anything they want and put it up on YouTube or TikTok or whatever the fuck. The problem is with social media is there's so many people doing it that you have to really fight to stand out, and you're also competing against people who are already there ahead of you. Like I'm never gonna surpass someone who already has 1 million followers. Also, if you have, the random picture could be a picture of anyone, but says wrote for XYZ or as seen on whatever TV show. It doesn't fucking matter what it is. You could be a guy on Shark Tank who came in with some bullshit business idea and got laughed out of the room. It didn't matter. You were on Shark Tank. And people might come to hear you talk about being on Shark Tank. All right? You get your name on something. Face wherever you can, which is why so many comedians do all these podcasts and stuff like that, just in a chance to kind of spread their audience a little bit. I think the only person who's really made it big as a comedian without really being on TV too much would be Nate Bargatze. And he did stand up for years before he had his first hit with the Netflix show, The Stand-Ups. And then his thing on Saturday Night Live really just exploded him. But he was on his way up as a stand-up comedian before the SNL thing. Now he's really touring arenas, all right? So you could have the funniest fucking act in the world and absolutely blow everybody out of the water every single show you do. But you are never going to outdraw the guy who was on MTV3's Real World season 27, all right? Just because that was a TV show. Also, you're never going to be able to outcompete a hot woman as well.